Everybody, this is Greg again with the second of 4 podcasts, Creating Optics That Produce Accreditation Results. This will cover the key characteristic of leadership for learning and the performance standards aligned with it that either directly say to you through the words like formal, systematic, structured, or imply that something written needs to be put into a team's hands. Key characteristic number 2, leadership for learning. It's really about the impact of leadership on the school operations, academics, life, school life, and building an institution that has both structure and outcomes that demonstrate that kids are being taken care of. It has several ideas. It's about leaders getting better themselves, leaders communicating and connecting with people, and it's about being followed. Just because you are a leader doesn't mean people are following you. John Maxwell once said that no matter what the title is on your door, if you turn around and nobody's following you, you're not a leader. You could be the boss, but you're not the leader. And we're talking here, again, the keys to leadership for learning are communication, influence, impact, and modeling so that people will see what you're doing and the behaviors that you want them to do are inculcated in them. Standard 7. This is one that is explicit, systematically. And this is about continuous improvement and getting more than just a handful of people in on school improvement. A documented improvement process. And we're not talking about just the improvement plan. We're talking about school development. That's really what it is. It is a bunch of plans and a bunch of actions and interactions that are really about developing the school. If you don't have it written, you cannot earn a 4 or a 3. So what do we need? Policies on data-driven decision making. We need a school improvement plan, PD plan, data management program. We need a quality assurance, although Cognia doesn't require a QA plan for schools, it does for systems and institutions. I still want to see what you're doing. And the easiest one are SMART goals. I used to have my own. And I looked at the SMART goals and I realized that's simpler, that's better than what I do. Evidence is analyze school improvement meeting minutes, data analysis reports, improvement action plans, priorities, themes of where you want to, things you want the school to do, performance standard findings. You should monthly be sitting down and looking at the performance standards and asking, where are we geographically located, 4, 3, 2, 1, and how do I know that's true? We need to do 3 things, and it needs to be a long time before the team comes. Number 1, you need to develop a school improvement plan. And really here, I mean a development plan with multiple plans. But you begin with the school improvement plan with measurable goals, timelines, and quality assurance. Then you need to engage your staff in data analysis to inform those improvement strategies and document and monitor progress through regular review meetings. One of the things that I ask myself every day, I still do, and I always did as a principal of a division or when I led a small system in China, I begin my day, generally in the office about 5:30 in the morning, and I ask myself, am I or are we as a school where we need to be right now to succeed today? And my second question at the end of the day was, am I or are we as a school where I or we need to be right now so that when I walk in the office tomorrow, I can help my school succeed? And I believe that teachers should be asking that question when you come to your specific courses. Are we where we need to be right now so my students can succeed and move on to the next steps? I think support staff should ask that. Everybody should print those 2 questions and have them framed up and on a wall, always looking at that. That would be a value of mine at a school. Standard 8. This is one that's implied, but the team needs to see documentation of this commitment to the school and learners to earn a 4. I ask any school that I have ever helped as a consultant, I've got an ethics charter. Look at this. I have online training and sign this ethics charter. You share an ethics charter with a team and they are duly impressed. You need written governance policies. How do you, as the governing board, interact with the school? And my ethics charter has that. And then how do you review whether the school is succeeding or not? And evidence could be reviewed logs, analyzed board meeting minutes, analyzed stakeholder feedback, and yes, your signed ethics charter. So very first thing that the governing board should do is look at itself, review itself, and formalize its governance policies and make sure they're aligned with the priorities that you have for your school. Priority 2 is you need to conduct a governance review meeting with your stakeholders. Let them know this is who we are, this is what we do, this is how we do it, and then solicit feedback. And then finally, you need to develop a schedule that a team can see for periodic policy reviews and school governance. Standard 9, this is explicit. This is you as a school creating homegrown leaders that know what they're doing. So in other words, we don't promote into leadership. That's always a bad thing to do. We train into leadership. We mentor into leadership. We coach into leadership. In fact, as a leader, when I had people that were subordinate to me, people that worked with me but answered to me, I saw it more as an apprenticeship. I took people around me and I took a handful that I, as a principal, directly apprenticed. Then they, as people, vice principals, as instructional coaches, they would apprentice somebody. Literally, at every level in our school, somebody was learning to be a leader. Everybody was learning to be a leader because we need leaders at all levels. And if you can show that, you're developing leaders at all levels, you're going to get a 4. What kind of evidence? A leadership program, policy, documentation, analyzed workshops, analyzed reflections of future leaders, mentor coach records with outcomes, stakeholder leadership activity logs, and more. And again, always my 3 priorities. If you don't have it, establish a leadership development program. If you've got it informally, document it. Conduct leadership training sessions and workshops all the time. These should be happening daily. Somebody somewhere in your school should be apprenticing, training, coaching, mentoring somebody to be a leader, and you need records of that you can analyze. What did we do today? Okay? What did we do today? Why did we do this? What are the outcomes that we expect? And then you track participation and you track those outcomes, those 3 things. Standard 10 is recruitment and evaluation practices. And this is implied, but the team is going to want to see HR policies, promotion policies, retention policies, onboarding, induction policies. They're going to want written documentation. I recommend when I'm consulting for a school that what you should be doing is give the team a pathway that starts with recruitment and ends with either retention or an exit interview if the person would do it. And if they leave and it's not pretty, they're probably not going to do it. But if somebody leaves because there's just a better opportunity, don't begrudge them that, and then ask if they would sit down and talk to you to help you. Evidence, job descriptions, analyze staff evaluation, analyzed exit reports, hiring committee notes, plus that HR pathway. So you either find or formalize that HR pathway and everything within it, from, again, recruiting to retention, promotion, everything. Find or standardize job descriptions. Principal, vice principal, every person working for the school should have a job description. There should be a performance evaluation template. Cognia has a great one, teacher observation tool. It's right there in your My Journey. You can open it, do it from within the app, and I suggest you give it kick the tires, give it a test run, see if it works for you, because it's going to crunch those numbers for you. You're not going to have to do it. Then you need to constantly review and update recruiting retention materials. So for Standard 11, this is implied, but you need to put this documentation, and this is all about contingencies. When things go boink in the night, when the train comes a little off the track, or the tire on one of your tires goes flat, COVID and the response to COVID, the distress all around the globe right now, your school, no matter what storm is circling around it, should be an eye of calm and stability for the students and for the staff. And you need to have documented institutional structures that show how you're going to support stability and adaptability, and these should be in the form of policies and contingency plans. Evidence would be organizational charts, change management protocols, analyze communication logs, newsletters and announcements, analyze meeting minutes and feedback forms. Priority 1, if it's informal, document it. If you've got it, go find it. Most schools don't have a change management plan to address the need to adapt. I was very lucky. I don't think I had foresight. I think I just got lucky when I was in China and I was the head of a small institution, and we developed a distance learning plan. We had Microsoft Teams and we trained, and when COVID hit and schools were shut down. So in the US, I think they were shut down for a year, other places, whatever amount of time. But in China, schools were shut down for almost 3 years, 2.5. And we were lucky. We had a distance learning plan. We trained our teachers. So you need to define or document institutional structures, including contingency plans, change management, and then disseminate them and disseminate the communication. I'm missing an N there as well. There needs to be an N, and put that in the team's hands. Standard 12. This is implied, but the team is going to want to see your scope and sequence. In fact, in the accreditation portfolio, they want that uploaded. And so even though it doesn't say we want to see the formal curriculum structure, by virtue of the fact that in your diagnostic, they're asking you to upload your scope and sequence, they want to see that in their hand. And by the way, many schools tend to see their textbooks as their curriculum. They're not. That's just a part of the curriculum. Textbook's a learning resource, and it has curriculum elements in it. So documentation, your scope and sequence. Documentation, your curriculum review process, procedure, and timeline. Evidence, again, curriculum, scope, and sequence. Unit maps, course maps, standards of learning, revision logs, analyzed meeting minutes. So if you don't have scope and sequence, you cannot get a 4. You cannot get a 3. You need to sit down right now, and somebody needs to document your complete curriculum throughout the whole school, from early learning through high school. Also, I highly advise that you make, for high school, a college and career curriculum that includes external exams, internal exams, how you're going to get kids ready. I would include, as a part of the curriculum, bridges between steps. So primary, middle, high, and then college. Standard 14. Institutions ensure curriculum and instruction are supplemented. So this is about giving the team an audit, a list of every primary source. So a primary source would be a textbook. Primary source would be a website or an app. Secondary learning resources are the things you use in class. You know, we have posters, we have PPTs, so you need to give the team an audit, lists of every primary and secondary learning resource, so that they can see it and validate it and say, and by the way, it doesn't matter what you use, McGraw-Hill, HMH, Pearson, whatever. A team cannot tell you, you should use this, you should do this, but they do want to see what you are using and what you're doing, and the evidence there that you see. So, if it's not written down, you need to identify and validate every primary learning resource, and I mean right now. Then you need to make sure that the resources are aligned with curriculum objectives. If you've got a good publisher, then the standards of learning are going to be in there, and there is going to be formative assessments in there as well. And so that's there, and you can show examples. Take PDFs, take pictures, and say this is where they are, and collect feedback from staff and students on the effectiveness of your resources. Standard 15, they're going to want to see the budget, and they're going to want to understand it. Why did you choose to allocate this for that? They're going to want to see your staff demographics. They're going to want to see, how you have the various departments staffed, various courses staffed, support staff. They're going to want to make sure that kids have what it takes to succeed by way of human, mechanical, building, resources, and money. All right, so I'm going to stop this particular podcast, and I'll come back in a moment with number 3. Thank you.